This isn't just another podcast. It's a movement, a global wave of women from Nairobi to Nashville, Seoul to Sao Paulo, stepping out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Women who are ready to be seen, to be heard, to be unmuted. I'm Anjuli Marshall, an award-winning ABC and NBC journalist and speaker, turned business strategist, coach, and mom. My mission? To amplify the voices of women who were never meant to stay silent. One woman, one voice, one story at a time. So go ahead, put on your comfy pants, grab a coffee, and maybe the remote. Are you ready to press the button? Unmuted starts right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Unmuted podcast. I am your host, Anjuli Marshall. And this is the podcast where we amplify the stories of authenticity, wisdom, and industry transformation. Today's guest is leading a revolution in curl care. Her name is Gaia Tonanzi, and she's the founder of a company called Tootilab. It's a brand. It is a movement helping 160,000 people plus embrace their natural hair. And as a curly myself, I'm so happy that you're here, Gaia. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm very good, Anjali. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Your curls are popping. They were popping in the photo. They were popping, girl. And so I am so excited to have you on here because this is not just about curl care. This is much bigger, right? Talk about that a little bit and talk to me about what it is that you do and what it is that you really do.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it's so much more than just curls because your hair, it's your confidence, is the way you interact with the world. It's like how, what makes you feel good in the morning or bad in the morning if you are not feeling your day. It's a whole, journey of acceptance, especially for us with curly hair, of trying to really embrace what we were naturally born with because it hasn't been traditionally embraced for the past several decades, I would say, and so it's been it's a very big movement that is really trying to reclaim, just the natural hair that we were born with and really embracing who we really are.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Because I totally agree. So growing up, I have very curly hair as well, and so growing up, the thing was straighten that hair, just straighten it, blow dry it, do whatever you need to do to just straighten the hair. Why do you think that became the right thing to do?
I mean, the 90s were all about that, straightening. We came from like the perms in the 80s, which again wasn't necessarily about embracing your natural curls, but a little bit more, it was a little bit more accepted than in the decades following, because it was all about straight hair. Straight hair was all you could see on social media. Well, social media didn't exist, but more on like TV, magazines, celebrities. If you think about all the movies that we saw where there was a before and after transformation of the girl that was finally coming into herself, always involved straightening her hair. Like Princess Diaries is, a classic example. I love that movie to bits, but it was pretty problematic, to say the least. Wow. Sorry, in that regards. So yeah, I feel like we just grew up in a society that wasn't really showing our hair as something normal, something that you can, wear for special occasion. It was more like something that you had to change to fit in.
So it's so sad. It's so sad that we've done that to ourselves, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's sometimes you say that, trends are always cyclical and everything, but I don't think that's the case for this, because it's more of a movement of like just us wanting to live in our own skin and not having to to very narrow beauty standards anymore.
Yeah. Do you know, there was a moment when I remember hearing about how having curls, if you have naturally curly hair, which a lot of people in the world have naturally curly hair.
Over 65% of the population. Yeah.
Yes. And so, and to me, to hear that percentage, I'm like, that's all? Because it feels like so much more, right? But I remember for myself personally, the moment that my daughter, who's 4 years old, who also is a curly, um, I straightened my hair, and she said, like, when I would be in the bathroom in the shower, like washing her hair and helping her to like learn how to take care of her hair, her response was, "No, mommy, I want straight hair because this person at my school has straight hair. And mommy, your hair is straight." And I found myself really thinking that through, like, what am I telling my daughter if the only way she ever sees me is with straightened hair? And so I started
Mhm.
wearing my hair curly much more often and letting her know we have the luxury of straightening our hair. We can wear it natural, curly, we can wear braids, we can do all these different things that some people don't have the luxury of doing. Was there a moment in your life when you found yourself saying these things to someone else or realized that someone was saying it to you when it was just like, but I want that, but this is what I have?
Yeah, that was basically my growing up. So I grew up in Italy. I'm from Italy, was born and raised there. And again, straight hair was very much the norm there. Also, I come from the countryside, so not a very diverse community, I would say. So again, looking around you, everyone had straight hair, whereas naturally, or because they straightened it, because they thought that that was the only way, there
Yeah.
wasn't really any role model of like, oh, that looks cool. I can try to do that, because
Yeah.
nobody knew how to take care of that. I didn't have a decent hairdressers until I moved to the UK, probably in 2017. So that was a long journey to get there.
Ooh.
And I spent my whole not high school years, but like even before middle school, so like 13, like 10 to 13,
Mhm.
straightening my hair constantly. So I used to spend 4 hours every weekend. First, I had this blow dryer with like something attached to it. It had like a brush that you couldn't even take
Blush,
off.
yes.
Yeah, so I had that first, and then going over it with a flat iron. So it was
Yep.
like a 4 hour process. And then, like, obviously top up during the week to like make sure that it remained as sleek as possible. Again, I'm from the north of Italy, not the south where it's all sunny and everyone, what everyone thinks about Italy. So rain,
Rain.
fog, not the best weather to really make sure that your hair actually stays exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and my mom, bless her, she didn't know how to take care of my hair. She also
Same.
has curls, not as tight as mine because mine come from my dad, but he's bald now, so not much help there. But she didn't know either because she blow dried her hair her whole life. So she just did with me what she knew how to do. When I
Yeah.
was very little, my hair was less curly than it is now. So you when you're young, also you can get away with like less styling, less like manipulation, because it's just like it naturally curls and it gets that little cute ringlets.
Yeah.
But as I grew, my hair started to get bigger and bigger because we were brushing it dry. So
Mm.
the more you brush it dry, the more it explodes, the more it becomes frizz, and the
Yep.
more you're like, what is going on? I don't know what to do. The only alternative is a flat iron.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a long process to get here.
When did you realize I need to be a change maker in this?
Mm. It wasn't until recently, to be honest. So I started to wear my hair a bit more curly during high school, purely out of laziness because I couldn't be bothered to spend 4 hours every weekend. So
Wow.
I found out mousses and I started to wear them in my hair. It was all right for a day, not the best, but it kind of worked. And then it went up in a bun until I had a special occasion, and then I would straighten my hair.
Yeah.
And then at uni, I fell into the rabbit hole of YouTube and creators like really embracing their curls, teaching you what to do. And
Yeah.
it really opened the world for me.
Yeah.
But I kind of fell into working in this industry because my first job was for a manufacturer here in the UK, Boots Contract Manufacturer. They're a big drugstore chain. But I thought they would place me with one of their skincare brands or makeup brands because that's what I was really passionate about at the
Mhm.
time. And then they placed me in the factory that worked to create and developed the brand. So I was in the marketing team working with the labs to come up with the formulas, and I was in the hair care division. And initially, you know, when I got the news and they were like, oh, this is your placement, I was like, really? With all the fun lipstick and stuff, this is what I'm working with? I guess fine. And then it ended up being literally the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The team was amazing. I learned so much during that job. I ended up staying like almost 2 years in the company, and I really just fell in love with hair care and just wanting to spread the world of curls to more people and make products so that more people could actually, you know, embrace their hair and not have to hide it.
What a unique opportunity to be in a place where they're creating the product.
Yes. Like it was such a gem because I really was working very much in contact with the lab. I was the one looking at trends and like, you know, what's going on in the industry. Oh, we should be doing this. But then I had my lab partner that was actually looking at the ingredients. How do you turn it into formulation? What kind of things can you put together? And I learned what is possible, because a lot of times as marketers we're like, oh, there's this amazing thing. We're considered a little bit fluffy, you know, in the product development community. But working closely with her, I was like, okay, so this is how formulation works. These are the ingredients that work together. This is what you need to do to actually put something on the shelf. And yeah, like I would definitely not be here if it hadn't been for like that initial kickoff, for sure.
So this is so fascinating to me because I was interviewing another woman who is very influential in the African or Black makeup sort of genre, I guess would be the way to say it. And so she's in the UK as well. She was in the UK as well when she started, and she was telling me that what she discovered in the process of creating different colors and different blends of things that would work for Black skin, she said that she was just so disappointed in what was available. The information that was also being given was not accurate. And so you ended up having Black women who only had these magazines of white women on them wearing green eyeshadow and things like that. And so you have Black women wearing green eyeshadow, and it's just like, that doesn't look the best. Like the information was limited. Did you find that when you were working to establish different blends and different for lack of better words, please forgive me, concoctions and whatever would work for the hair, did you find that there was just this lack of representation for curls?
100%, especially because when it comes to like ingredients specifically, when you work in manufacturing, when you develop a formula, you don't make every ingredient from scratch. You normally work with actives that are provided by suppliers that put them together, that do the whole science and the research behind them and why they work. And the thing that I discovered that shocked me is that they're only tested on like hair tresses, and the majority of hair tresses that are available are straight hair. They normally come from like South Asia, and that's all they use. I specifically remember working on a project where we wanted to do like a bond building treatment for curly hair and saying, we want this to work on all curl types. Can we please test it on different types of curls? And the suppliers coming back and saying, I don't know what you mean. We either have Caucasian hair or Afro hair. I was like, there's a lot of things in between. So much in between, like to make sure that products really work for a variety of people. And that's what really, really struck me of like, we still have miles to go. Even to this day, now it's funny because I go to supplier events, like there's trade shows about raw materials and stuff all the time. And now curly hair is the biggest trend. Like every supplier is coming out with like their curly hair concoction or something. But when you look at actually what is being presented, we're like 5 years behind in terms of trends. They're still talking about co-washes that very few people are using these days because everyone is going more about like scalp health. They're still like very much behind. They're not working on like styling products or gels. So it's still, the industry is moving, but it's very, very slow. So if you're not a brand who actually cares and is going to do their own research and actually test your products on your own on a panel, then you're not going to get the results you want to just by going by industry standard. And that's unfortunately the reason why when you go out and buy products, a lot of times you have to buy a million of them and always test them because they never quite perform, because very likely nobody with curly hair ever had it on their head before it hit the shelf.
It's why it's important to have a seat at the table. Am I right?
100%. Yes.
You need to have people who are making decisions for curly hair. They need to have curly hair. Otherwise, they don't really know what they're talking about. I want to transition to Tootilab because this is the seat at the table, right? This is what you founded. Tell me about this company. And I mean, we know why you started it, but I want to know how it's going.
Yeah. So the starting point was really like the frustration of seeing how, the decision will be made, even by curly hair brands. A lot of times, there aren't that many people with curly hair working in the background. And again, it's not necessarily that everyone has to have curly hair. But it's just different when you have people that have been through it and understand the customer to a different level, rather than just, I'm selling shampoo, doesn't matter what, your hair is like. No, I understand your pain. I'm going to talk to you. I'm here to try to help you because I know what that means. And that's kind of like what led me to decide to just try and do this myself, because I've done startup, like a curly hair startup life before. It was a great experience. But again, when you're so passionate about something, at the end of the day, if you're not the founder, you can't make the final decision. And it just ends up being very frustrating. And then I tried working for a corporate company because I was like, I need a bit more corporate experience. Let's see how that goes. Very quickly discovered corporate is not for me. I did not, I was there, but having a seat at the table was literally just a figurative thing. Whatever I said, people weren't really listening to. So that was kind of like the last straw. And I was like, okay, that's it. I need to try this. I don't have kids. I don't have a mortgage. If I don't try now, I never will.
Yeah.
It's the right time to give it a shot. And that's why I decided to launch Tootilab. I recruited my friend Julio. So we're a duo. So he's my co-founder. And we decided to really give this a go. And we've started the company in 2022. Took us 18 months to get the first formulas. That was a very long process. And then we launched the first products in May last year. So we've been going less than a year and a half.
I have so many questions. I'm
for it.
So excited for Tootilab. Okay. So Tootilab, obviously 18 months, that's a long time to have to wait, because I know that this is your baby, right? So
yes.
now that the baby is here, now that your company is standing on its own two legs, you have products in stores, correct?
Currently, no, we're only online.
Okay. And so when someone purchases Tootilab products, what would you say is the differentiator? Like what exactly is different than your basic, I don't know, straight hair products that would be on any store shelf?
So what we really try to focus is taking the effort out of curly hair, because you will have heard all the time the conversation of curly hair is so complicated, I'd rather just straighten it because it just takes too long. I have to take hours in the shower to get any sort of results. And I really wanted to challenge this narrative, because it can be complicated. You can do a full-on routine that takes finger coiling every single curl, using multiple products. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can wear your hair curly without making it an effort. And I am very lazy. If I can do that, then anyone, I guarantee that anyone can do it. And so we really wanted to focus on that. So we started by education. So creating video on social media, helping people understand, this is what you need to do to wear your curls without making it too complicated. Without the influencers 10-15 step routines, just the real basics that you need to get decent curls. And that's really what really catapulted the business, because I started doing that while we were still developing the formula. So that was in 2023. And the say groundbreaking event was my beginners boot camp, where it was 14 days. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, and then that's the basic, one video a day, and then that's it. You're going to be able to wear your hair curly. And that literally, from in a month, we went from 200 followers to like 10,000 on Instagram and another 10,000 on TikTok, just like that. And then it just kept going like a rocket speed for the next year, to the point that when we launched, we had over 120,000. Now we have over 160,000 between the two platforms, and it just keeps on growing because people are craving these simplicities. There are starting to be too many products. They tend to have very odd names that if you're not used to a curly hair routine, you might not really know what that means and like where it actually sits in your routine. You just don't know where to start and what you actually need. And a lot of people overcomplicate it, try 10 products at a time, then they don't understand which one of them is not working. They just feel like everything is not working. And we just wanted to take it all back, take a deep breath, start with 3 products. You have your shampoo and conditioner that everyone uses anyway, styling product for styling, and that's your like beginner's kit. You just learn with that, and then after that, you can figure out if you need something more. Is your hair dry? Maybe you add a cream before. Is your hair, do you want more shine? You can add an oil at the end. So there's a lot of things that you can add to your routine to customize it. But when you don't know where to start, don't add too many variables, because that's just going to make it way too complicated
and overwhelming.
Exactly.
It's overwhelming. Okay. What would you say? No, I want to know, what's your hair care routine?
My hair care routine, 99% of the day, shampoo, conditioner, and gel. Maybe leave-in. It depends on how I feel on the day. It would be like shampoo, conditioner, leave-in, and gel if it's dry or my hair needs it a little bit. But that's literally it. I wash my hair every 3 to 4 days, depending. Okay. Diffuse with a diffuser, because I don't have the patience for air drying. And that's it. I protect it at night. That's also very important. I have like a silk pillowcase, and I use another silk scrunchie to like pull my hair up. Mm-hmm. And that's really it.
Okay. That doesn't sound too bad.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound too hard. It takes me like around 5 minutes maybe to style, 15 minutes to dry. I swear, I literally split my hair in half, get the product on my hair, rake it through, and then scrunch a little bit, and then that's it.
That's it. Okay. I need these videos that you're teaching people. Like, I need to learn as much as humanly possible. So what would you say is next for Tootilab? Because you've accomplished so much. But I know that I can just tell you have a lot of things that you
always
want.
More. Yeah. I think our next objective is getting into retail. So if there's any retailer buyer interested, hit us up. We want to get into retail because we want to make it more accessible for people. We sell online at the moment. We're a UK brand, but we have a warehouse in the US and one in the UK to like get, easy shipping. But really, I feel like the next step is really getting the product into the hands of just more people to make it easier. And then after that, hairdressers, and especially hairdressers education, because they did a survey, I think it was a couple of years ago here in the UK, and I don't think the situation is a lot different in the US, but only 1% of salons knew how to take care of like curly textured hair. 1% out of 35,000 salons in the whole country.
I believe it.
And it's like, it's just like when you see the numbers, you're like, obviously it makes sense, because like I've been through it. I know how hard it is to find a salon, but it shouldn't be this way. Sure. And it's not necessarily their fault to start, because it's just not part of the curriculum. Like, you don't learn how to do curly hair when you're in cosmetology school. It's just not part of it. You learn how to straighten it. You learn how to relax it. You learn how to do a perm, but you don't learn how to style and enhance naturally curly hair. So the ones that do want to learn have to pay out of pocket for like extra courses, specific, training and stuff to really get that knowledge. So you need to already be very committed in wanting to offer a more inclusive service. So yeah, we want to make that easier. I don't know how that looks like yet, but we're gonna figure it out.
You are just such an inspiration. Like, I love that. I love that you fell into this. You were like, I want to do lipstick. I want to do makeup.
You
end up in the hair.
And Destiny was like, nope.
I feel like God has like had his hand on you the entire time. Like, no, you have big things for you. I've got big plans for you. And I'm so excited for where you're going. I'm also very excited for anyone who's able to learn how to holistically care for their hair. Because I live in Los Angeles, and I will tell you, there are curly salons here. Like, you can get a curly cut and things like that. But Gaia, it is crazy expensive.
I know. I know.
I don't understand why it should cost $400 for a haircut. Like, it's astronomical. But we pay it because there's no other option.
You have no choice.
You have no choice. And so I really want people to discover you and discover your product. And I want Tootilab in stores, and I want people to get educated. So thank you for all of the work that you do. Thank you.
Of course. I mean, it's just what feels right to me. Yeah. You know, the moment you start, it's one of those things where you're like, you just cannot stop. You know, there's always something more to do, and you're always like looking at the horizon of like, okay, we've done this, what next? What can we do to like make this happen? And I won't stop until that happens, because I'm a very stubborn person, as my business partner will tell you.
Love that so much. When we spoke earlier, I told you after interviewing, we're going to play a game. Are you ready?
All right. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, Gaia, this game is called Hot Mic. So it's a number of questions. I don't want to tell you the number, because I don't want to give you any hints, any clues whatsoever. So Hot Mic is sporadic, random, however, very strategic questions for you. The only rule here is you cannot think. Just say whatever comes to mind.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Number 1, favorite curl product ingredient.
Oof. I'm thinking too much, because I'm thinking about, no, actually, okay, I know which one it is. Bahentrumonium chloride. It's a very common ingredient. A lot of products have it, but for curly hair, it's the best conditioning ingredient, in my opinion, because it's not too heavy and it gives you that slip that curls need. So yeah, that will win. The slip. Yes.
Slip in the hair.
Yes, 100%.
Book that everyone in the curl community should read.
So it's actually about to come out. There's a friend of mine called Paige who wrote a book that's called How to Love Your Afro, and it's about like her journey of like really learning how to embrace her hair and like, you know, just loving what is naturally growing out of her head. So it's coming out, I think, in a couple of weeks. So I would look that up and read that.
And what's the name again?
How to Love Your Afro. How
to Love Your Afro. I love that. A song for a show-stopping hair day.
Ooh, Shake It Off, maybe Taylor Swift. I think that can never go, you know, shaking off the hair. I feel like that's a good one. And also shake off the haters that want you to straighten your hair. So I feel that fits.
I like that. A breakfast to power through a new product launch.
So I don't actually normally have breakfast, which is weird. I know biggest meal of the day, but I like lunch and dinner. But when I do have breakfast, a nice croissant with like a cappuccino on the side, that's my go-to.
That's good. A sustainability hack for your beauty routine.
Oh, double check the material that your products are in by looking at like under the bottle. There's normally like a little triangle thing that is going to tell you how you can recycle it and where, because not all bottles are made the same. They tend to be of different materials. So not everything is always recyclable altogether. Sometimes you have to take off the cap or take off the label. So have a look under the bottle to see what that is.
That's a great hack. Thank you for that. Most memorable feedback from a customer.
There's these lady. Actually, I think we're about to post it on our feed in a couple of days, because it was just like the most lovely message ever. She sent me a message like this long, all caps, that was like, please never stop making this product, because you changed my life. I have 2 small kids, didn't know what to do with their hair. I started to use the products, and now the routine is a lot easier. They're not crying anymore when I brush in their hair and I'm doing their hair. And yeah, I mean, every piece of feedback is special. We read all of the comments. I respond to all of the DMs, but this one just really stuck, because it was just really lovely.
That's great. I love that. I love that she reached out to you.
Yeah, we have so many people that do. That's the best part of the job.
Yeah, I love that. Myths about curly hair that you would like to bust.
Oof. Oh my God, I'm gonna sit down for like an hour to talk about that. What shall we start? First of all, that if you use products, you don't actually have curly hair, which isn't true. Products just enhance what you naturally have. You're not creating curls out of nowhere unless you're using heat or like a perm. That's a good one. Or that curly hair doesn't need shampoo. It definitely does, because your scalp is skin and it's the same thing. So conditioner is not going to remove oil buildup, sebum, and especially all the products that you apply on your products. So please do shampoo your scalp.
Please shampoo your hair.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's trending on TikTok, but hopefully not for long.
Oh my gosh. Coffee, tea, or coconut water for focus?
I would say matcha.
Matcha. Nice. For focus. Yes.
Yes.
I'm sure you can focus with that. Most frequent question from your community?
Most frequent question: why does my hair not last through the day? Why does it fall? Like, why is my hair frizzy? It only lasts a couple of hours. And the answer to that is that you're probably not using the right styling products. Because if you just use a styling cream, it's not going to last. It's nice for a more natural result if you like that. But if you want definition and long lasting and longevity, you need a gel or a mousse maybe, but honestly, a gel is the best product.
A gel, yeah. Tip for protecting your curls overnight.
So the best thing is a bonnet, but if you're lazy like I am, at least use a silk or satin pillowcase and pull your hair up with a silk or satin scrunchie so that you're not squishing it under your head as you move around.
Yeah, we call it a piña, a pineapple.
Yeah, pineapple. Yeah.
The best thing about running Tootilab.
Just talking to people and like getting the feedback, as we were saying, like whenever someone says, I love the product, it's changed how I see my hair. I wear my hair curly more. That just literally makes my day every single time. It never gets old.
That's wonderful. I love that. Express yourself in texture. What is your signature emoji?
Oh, that's a good question. What is my signature emoji? I would say often the monkey that covers their eyes, because I'm like, oh my God, for something. Somehow that always ends up being up there. Especially running a start. Yeah, running a startup, there's never a dull moment. So more often than not, you're like, okay, fine.
Yeah, you just kind of deal with it as it comes, but you're like, oh my gosh, do I have to deal with this right now?
Yeah.
I'm looking at that emoji now and I'm like, that's actually really good. The most surprising sustainability lesson that you've learned?
That plastic isn't necessarily the least sustainable option. And actually, when you look at the life cycle analysis, for example, a bottle of shampoo, plastic has less of an impact on the environment compared to glass and aluminum, because the amount of energy, water that you need to make glass and aluminum is a lot more than you do plastic. So even when you consider the fact of the end of life and the recyclability issues, if it's recyclable plastic, HDPE is actually the best material in terms of sustainability, which I had no idea about.
Wow. Thank you for teaching us that.
Mm-hmm.
Best beauty a beauty influencer who inspires your work.
I'm going to mention the one that first kickstarted everything. So she's Penny Tovar. She used to be called Curly Penny. She doesn't really do much about influencing. She's a nurse now, so she's not really active on social media that much. But she was the one, her videos were the ones that first started teaching me about my curls and really, got me on this journey. So I'll always be grateful for that.
God bless Penny Tovar for motivating you to come and do this work. I love that.
Yes.
So what is next for curl care in one word?
I'm going to say simplicity. And not just because that's how our products are positioned, but you'll see it more. People just embracing a bit of frizz and not worrying about it too much.
Last question. Dream collaboration that you want for Tootilab?
Ooh. There's a company in this. You mean like as another brand or like an influencer or something?
Either one.
So like in terms of brand, there's two that I've seen around that I really love their positioning. So there's Crave Beauty, very strong on sustainability. And again, without greenwashing, but really focusing on like talking about the products and exactly what goes behind that. And I think another one as well that has this positioning is Dew Skin, which is getting more popular in the US. And they as well are all about like, debunking myths and greenwashing and clean beauty when it's not actually cream, but it's just used as a marketing ingredient. So there are two brands that I'd love to work with.
I love that. You did great.
Thank you.
Hot seat.
Nice.
You were in the hot frozen. And I always think that it's such a fun game, but then I had one of my interviews tell me, Anjali, of course you think it's fun. You're not the one in the hot seat. She actually she loved it. But I was like, I should actually think about that a little bit more before I just say, oh, this is so great.
I mean, to be honest, it gets the natural responses out because you don't have time to prepare. So yeah, I loved it.
Yes, and people get to know you a little bit more. That was the whole goal behind the game. Yeah. But Gaia, oh my gosh, you've created a fantastic product and I can't wait to try it. I'm very excited to go to the website and purchase some. But for people at home who are watching, tell them how they can like you, how they can support you, how they can find you, all the good things.
Yep. So very easy. You can find us at Tootilab on Instagram, TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook. We're not very active on YouTube yet, but definitely Instagram and TikTok, we post every day. And then you can find the products and also all our boot camps, which are completely free. So you don't have to pay. You never have to pay for education with us at tootilab.com.
Free education. Imagine that. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here, Gaia. And you are officially now part of the Unmuted family. So welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you for just uncomplicating curl care and for inspiring a movement for science, sustainability, and texture inclusion. I mean, we curly girls need somebody to be at the table to make decisions for us, and that's who you are. And so I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words.
Yes, and thank you guys for watching. If you know someone, especially a curly girl at home or a curly guy who just needs a little bit of motivation, or they have a dream in their heart and they're not quite sure how to go about accomplishing that, you should send this to them. This is a great, great video to send to them. So hopefully this can be inspiring, not just for you, but for everybody else. And thank you for watching Unmuted. We will see you next time. Bye.
What you just heard wasn't just a story. It was a spark, a glimpse into the heart of a woman living for purpose, and a reminder that when one woman shares, another woman wakes up to what's possible. These aren't just conversations, they're catalysts. I'm your host, Anjali Marshall, and this is the Unmuted podcast, where voices rise, stories connect, and purpose finds its volume. Until next time, friends, stay unmuted.